We've all gone through this. You're sitting down in school, at a desk, the room hums in silence. So quietly that you can feel the glaring pulse of the fluorescence overhead. It's test day, and the teacher paces impatiently, reading the daily, peering over the hems, to ensure that everyone is keeping their eyes in check. Your fellow students are all scratching away at their papers, some with confidence and others in fear, but all with a sense of urgency. You can't help but take a look around, letting it all set in, the confusion of knowing you studied hard yet not understanding certain questions. The way the clock seems to move so fast in such a still environment, and the excitement or fear of not being in control. You check your work twice, never really satisfied, holding on to the hope that you've done your best. Tokyo is the city that you study for before leaving and realize upon arrival that you couldn't have possibly prepared for what is to come. A living, breathing organism that as an outsider you will never truly comprehend. So sit back and just enjoy the show. Subtitles are not provided. You probably have no idea where I am right now, do you? Well, I am in Tokyo. Welcome to one of my favorite cities in the world. It is just a huge assembly of just every little boy and little girl's dream. It's absolutely crazy, but it can be absolutely serene. And that's why we wanted to start here today, to show you that there are so many different sides and faces to Tokyo. And at the end of the day, it comes down to what you want to experience and how you want to see the city. I love seeing a balance of these kind of beautiful, natural landmarks, and at the same time mix that in with the cacophony of just crazy restaurants and bars and quirky people. Over the next few days, I'm gonna show you how confused I get each time I come to the city. I've been here close to 7 times and I still find myself being absolutely lost in the different kind of districts. There's something for everyone here. I'm just gonna show you the way I like to do it. The first thing you need to know if you're planning to spend a couple of days in Tokyo is that there are 2 main airports, Haneda and Narita. You could be tempted to land in Haneda since it's closer. However, the facilities are smaller and getting through immigration here can sometimes be lengthy. Its express train will only take you straight to Shinagawa, where you'll need to take another train to reach your destination. Narita, although further, is usually more seamless and has an efficient express train running to the center of the city. If I could choose, I would go for Haneda, but only if the plane lands in the morning or late at night. For both airports, the trains are much cheaper, but aren't necessarily shorter than a taxi ride, depending on the traffic. Close to 40 million people call Greater Tokyo home. Let that sink in. All of Australia doesn't even have that many inhabitants. Population aside, it is almost 3 times larger than New York City. No wonder you will never truly be able to explore it all, even if you live here. Even then, it seems like a gigantic task. When a city is this big, as a tourist, we should focus on where most of the businesses, cultural institutions, restaurants, and activities reside. There are over 20 district wards, and to make it more confusing, these are further divided into districts and neighborhoods. Depending on what your interests are, I doubt that you'll feel the need to visit all of them, which makes your choice of accommodation so key. The way I break it down, if you're looking to shop and stay in a higher end area, choose Ginza or Omotesando. If history is your thing, position yourself around the Tokyo station. Go towards Asakusa and Ueno if you're looking for traditional accommodation and experiences. If you don't have much time to spend, search for places around Akasaka or Shinjuku, or around the younger districts Shibuya, Harajuku, or Aoyama. On the other hand, if you're going to be staying in the city longer and want to feel like a local, I recommend Ibisu, the Yoyogi neighborhood, or Meguro. What a stressful first day. Our flight was delayed 1 hour and then our car ride took about 40 minutes more than it should have. So we were about 15 minutes late for a sushi reservation, which is something that should never happen. And I will tell you all about that experience soon. But we are just now settling in to the apartment. We were supposed to be here at 1 p.m. It is now 10 p.m. So we're literally 9 hours behind schedule and I am just so tired, man. Oh. Who am I kidding? Let's go out. You can imagine that getting around a city this big sounds like a nightmare. Taxis can be quite expensive. They usually start around $6 and climb more or less by $1 every kilometer. To give you a sense of scale, the 19 kilometers between Haneda and Shibuya will on average cost you around $80. I usually use them only when the train lines close from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. Your second option is to walk. The city is very clean and extremely comfortable to walk through, but when the distances between wards can take ages to cover, you're left with your third option, the Tokyo subway. If you've traveled around big cities, the metro can be quite a peculiar place. From street artists to graffiti, wafting unwelcome smells, buskers, pushing, shoving, and everything in between. I've had both great and questionable experiences in subways. The one in Tokyo should be a shining example for everyone else. Trains are on time, signs are clearly posted, both Japanese and English come through the PA system, the bathrooms are clean, the food options can be amazing. I've never seen anyone try to get in without a ticket, and the station map covers the whole city. You are never more than a 15-minute walk away from a train station. However, when you look at this map, it can seem quite confusing. When you're deep in the Tokyo Metro subway, I know it might sound confusing, but let me break it down for you. The most useful one is the Tokyo Metro. Tokyo Metro has probably the largest network of lines. The subway is so key and so important to getting around. It's just much easier than going to the street, and most of the time it's easier to kind of locate yourself depending on the metro stations that you kind of come down on. They have a 24-hour ticket that you can get, so I used to be that person that used to go to the counter and just buy like single journey tickets, but those can rack up and become quite expensive. So here, just bring your passport to the counter, people here speak English, grab a whole day 24-hour ticket, and you can use both systems that are available to you. Hi, miss. So you have three choices that are actually pretty cool. You can do a 24-hour ticket for 800 yen, you can do a 48-hour ticket for 1,200 yen, and 72-hour ticket, which is really cool, which is a perfect weekend, basically, for 1,500 yen. So it does get cheaper as you go along. The most important thing to do when you're buying, especially singular tickets or just when you're going around, is just knowing exactly where you're going. You have these information boards that are absolutely great and just help you kind of navigate the metro lines, because it isn't actually that complicated. It's just once you understand your destination, the station you're stopping in, and direction you're going in, it's much easier. Right now we're in Omotesando. I want to get to Tokyo Station, which is one of the main stations up here, and I can say, all right, I want to end here, and I press search, and it'll tell me exactly what lines I need to take. It will tell me exactly what switches I need to take, and it will also tell me whether or not the stations have free Wi-Fi or not, which I think is absolutely amazing because there is free Wi-Fi absolutely everywhere here. The best value for your money is the Tokyo Subway 24-hour ticket. You can get these at tourist information desks located in Shinjuku, Ginza, Omotesando, and Ueno stations from 9:15 to 5:15 p.m. Once you're all set up and ready to go, make sure to have a look at the Tokyo Metro Guide free brochure to get a good lay of the land and find out what station is next to which attraction or destination. If you have a hard time remembering the name of the stations, just look at the letter number code next to them. It'll help you locate yourself much faster. Just like the railroad, during the day, things are on track. People move almost mechanically with astounding efficiency. Japanese are known to be amicable, polite, and respectful. Omotenashi, or selfless hospitality, is the backbone of Japanese culture. To an outsider's eye, it seems that everything has a code and a ceremony to it, an outspoken ritual for everyday life. However, they're also known to push the boundaries of technology, fashion, and entertainment. We've all seen the quirky game shows, the comic books, and the themed cafes. I've always wondered where this balance is struck. From two-handed business card exchanges or distinguishing stature through levels of bows, to S&M bars where hot wax is dripped on you while you drink, and disheveled businessmen happily stagger on side streets, attempting to make the last strain of the night. The setting sun brings with it a flip side of the local culture, one that is still set in humility, but that also knows how to have a good time. So after a lot of walking in Tokyo, you always feel like you're lost. You're going up in circles, you don't know where you're going, you find yourself in weird neighborhoods. It's a huge city that can feel very small in a sense that buildings aren't necessarily always landmarks, they're not always really tall. and we tucked into this really amazing sake shop. It's called Sasagen. It's basically an izakaya. And in front of me, I have, well, first of all, I've been kind of like downing this sake. It's absolutely beautiful. For those of you who haven't tried proper sake before, it's not something that will just jar you or like make you like squinch and stuff like gin does or like vodka does. It's really smooth. It's like a good wine, and when it's well selected, it's even better. And here, at least you know you're in the right hands, and people can kind of recommend what you should drink. And it's a great introduction because it's a very casual atmosphere and it's a very friendly atmosphere. It does kind of put you at ease, and when it comes to something like sake, which is so big and so hard to understand, it's such a great place to be. But they have amazing food. And here we have some boiled spinach, and this is with crab flakes and some crab fat. It tastes like cream, it tastes like butter, it tastes like heaven, it tastes like love, it tastes like sex, it tastes like something you just want to keep eating. It's so good. Next here we have kind of like quail egg on some sort of tartare. I'm pretty sure it's fish. It has a fishy taste, but it has a texture of like fruit. It's almost like a very clean tuna with like a soy brine, some green onions, a raw quail egg that just really kind of ties into the creaminess together. And finally, the one I'm most excited about, it's raw scallops with what was written as a tofu cream. Okay, now that's really weird. It's like scallops with a tofu cream for sure, but this time it does have a nectarine pieces in it. So it's almost like a Greek yogurt with fruit, but then there's some raw scallop in there, which sounds completely off, but it just makes sense. And a recurring theme you'll see in Tokyo, sometimes the weirdest things, at the end of the day, here make sense. Kanpai.
Traveling is about identifying your comfort zone and ripping it off completely. So don't be afraid to just wander around with no other purpose but to walk and discover. Finding situations that you need to experience first before understanding them. I like to think that dancing does burn calories and that alcohol just goes through you so quickly. And to make sure that you can still hit all the sights in the early morning, it might be good to have a late night meal to soak it all up. Well, you're in luck. There are a bunch of restaurants that stay open until late. Ichiran Ramen, Sushi Zanmai Higashi, Kakemoki Gyoza, Kameya, and Isomari Suisan all operate for 24 hours. If that's too intense for you, and if you're looking for food around the midnight mark, yet don't really know what you want to eat, enter the beautiful izakaya.
I was getting a little sad because we were walking around and we got rejected by a bar, we got rejected by izakaya, some of them were closing, some of them were full. And it just comes to show that when you're in Tokyo and you're a group larger than 1 or 2 or 3 people, you just have to be very kind of conscious of the decisions you make in terms of the restaurants and the bars, and if you reserve them or not, and if you're willing to go out of your way to go to a certain place and then eventually not be able to go in. But, you know, we made up for it here. We're this really cool, loud izakaya, and I couldn't be happier. The food's been fantastic, and it's a really loud ambience, but with good food. And that's what we were after. So it just goes to show that sometimes in Tokyo, you know, or in traveling in general, you know, you can plan everything you want, but at the end of the day, the experiences get even more fun when you stumble upon hidden gems.
Some of my favorite ones include Kaikayan by the Sea, Nishio-san, Uoshin, Romambu, Andi Shin Hinomoto, and Jomon. Balance and subtlety are values you don't often come across in large cities. It seems to be an art that the Japanese are continuously improving on. You could be staring at steel mountains on the curb of the street just to turn the corner and fall onto natural spectacles. This is the Shinjuku Garden. It's like a green lung in the middle of the city. In between some of the most bustling areas of Tokyo, you got Shinjuku on one side, you got Shibuya on the other side, and it's just such a serene, peaceful place. I don't know if you can hear it, but when I stop talking, it's just silence, and you got these beautiful bonsai trees. You got a Japanese garden, you got a Western garden. And it's one of those places, if you have the extra time and you want to get away from the hustle bustle of the city, it makes a lot of sense to just come here, walk through it. It'll maybe take you 10 to 20 minutes just to pass it from point to point, and it'll just make you feel more relaxed again. I always feel it's very important to have that balance when you're traveling, especially for such a short period of time. It can get very intense, so it's important to come to places like this just to kind of like restore your energy and, you know, relax a little bit. Let's take a break from focusing on our stomachs and discover what else Tokyo has to offer. As you can imagine, people here have a deep respect and attachment to their history. This is put on display in the many museums in the different wards, such as the Tokyo National Museum, the Edo Tokyo Museum to understand the city's past, and if art is more interesting to you, you have the National Museum of Modern Art, Mori Art, and the Metropolitan Art Museum. Or for a walk into the past in an easy-to-miss spot in the city, the Shitamachi Museum. So we're about to hit the Shitamachi Museum, and if this were a different time of the year, you'd have slightly more colors, but it's still really pretty. I've always been a fan of history museums because they have a very quirky way to kind of spur up your imagination and make you feel like you're in a different place. And here we're in the Shitamachi Museum, which is a museum that basically covers how life used to be in Japan. I'll just show you how people used to live around here, and it's very quaint. It's very fun. You know, like Japan in terms of art has always been at the forefront of a lot of different things in a lot of different categories. And what I love about Tokyo is you can see everything from these styles of natural history or history museum and then more modern galleries and things around the city as well. One of the other most beautiful museums I've seen, amazing architectural lines drawn by Kengo Kuma, nestled among Japanese gardens in the heart of Omotesando. In it, one of the largest collections of pre-modern Japanese and East Asian art. Looking for some other fun stuff? Well, there is always the Toilet Museum, or a place where you can be a samurai for a day. The options when it comes to shopping in Tokyo are absolutely endless. You can go from anything from high-end shopping malls like Kite right here behind me beside the Tokyo main station, or you could go to little nodes like we're heading now to Harajuku, to Shibuya, and find a lot of different boutiques. Omotesando has some really kind of higher end but more artsy stuff as well. So the variety is massive. Just kind of research the areas so that you don't spend too much time traveling between each of them. Certain areas cater to specific needs and can help you decide where you want to spend most of your yen. Omotesando and Ginza are great for higher-end stores, large luxury department stores, or expensive boutiques. Harajuku and Shibuya mix in luxury with shops that cater to a younger, more experimental crowd. Shinjuku and Meguro are great places for department stores, as well as a huge selection of second-hand shops, from specialty camera lenses to intact luxury watches. Head on to Akihabara for all your electronic needs and otaku-related items. I personally love going around the Harajuku area for some original finds and thrift shops. Secondhand culture in Tokyo is pretty huge. You have these amazing secondhand camera shops, you have amazing secondhand watch shops, and you have amazing secondhand clothing shops like Kinji, for example. But then in each category, you have a very huge difference between what's really expensive and the really, really cheap ones. So try to find a balance between both and the ones you want to check out. For example, Kinji is quite on the lower end of the price scale, but really cool secondhand clothes. Then you have something like Ragtag, which is much pricier, much more brand focused and oriented. So what I love is that you really have that spectrum of choice and of prices when it comes to secondhand buys. We can make a whole episode about like the quirky little stores that we can find, like absolutely everything from toothbrushes to magnets to shoes. I love these mixed use stores, and today we're in front of the Awesome store. Let's see if it's really awesome. Was the Awesome store awesome? Yep. It's pretty awesome. Like, it's all the stuff that you know you're never gonna use ever, but it's gonna look good in your shelves and you just wanna hoard it. While you're in the area, drop by the inexpensive Harajuku Gyoza for a bite. We saw this little place called Harajuku Gyoza, which apparently is taken off and people are all over it. So we got these beautifully kind of pan-fried steamed gyozas with garlic. So you have the choice of with garlic or without garlic.
The garlicky flavor really comes out, it comes through. It's not too pungent. It's really tasty. I could definitely go through like 12 of these in a heartbeat. And it's not too expensive. It's about 600 yen for about 12 pieces. Pretty decent.
After your first day in the city, you will really feel like you are bouncing from one area to the other, because there's just so much to do and you'll feel the need to do it all as quickly as possible. What I try to do is concentrate on 2 or 3 neighboring wards in one day and just attack the city in sections. You will also want to keep your travel time to a minimum. So for a seamless trip, use the Tokyo Subway navigation app to check your itinerary and get directions to your next destination. All you have to do is type in your departure station and your destination station. Then the app will tell you exactly how to get there. Best part is, you can use it offline. Ever since we started this series, it's been my dream to shoot in Tokyo. I've always been drawn to its rhythm, always on beat, but the more you listen to it, the more you realize that there is so much more hidden in its notes. Experiences that only happen in this moment and comparable to anything else you would have seen in the world. I could conjure up paragraphs and innumerable word combinations to drum up your excitement or paint you a picture. But at the end of the day, it will never be truly enough. You need to visit to grasp the concept of its soul. I realize that there's so much we didn't cover, but that's the beauty of it. You will always feel like you didn't do enough, or that you probably missed out on some underground gatherings or great bites, never realizing that this is what Tokyo does to you. It leaves you with happy regrets, things to add to your bucket list, and a lingering question that you know will sound ridiculous if you voice it out. Could I one day live here? Could I bear the constant confusion and the daily learning curve? I guess we'll just have to come back to figure that one out.
At the end of the day, guys, it's all about having a good time and doing exactly what you like. And I love making these videos to show you exactly where I like going and maybe help you organize your trip. We meet a lot of people who come up to us and say, hey, you know, I watched overnight and we tried some of your recommendations and we loved it, and that makes me so happy. So thanks again for watching. This is Erwan Heussaff again for the Tokyo Metro City Guide. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. We've shot 2 other episodes of Overnight. We have Overnight Fukuoka and Overnight Osaka, so please make sure to check those out as well. Peace out.